You know, Chip, I can access my gun.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to my 10th anniversary live stream here on YouTube. I cannot believe it's been 10 years already. Time has really flown by, and a lot has happened in these last 10 years, and I'm so grateful for all of you and all of your support. I wanted to make this a kind of like a hangout, as well as sharing a bit of the story of how we got here 10 years later. There's been a lot of people that have helped this channel, who have participated in creating the work that we do, and the team that I work with, I want to thank first and foremost, of course. But hi, Triva, I see you there. I'm so glad to see you there. And of course, Triva has been with me probably since almost the beginning. I believe it'll be 10 years that we've been working together next year. So, excuse me. I thought I'd start off tonight by talking about why did I start this channel and what motivated me to do this work. For those of you that have been following me all this time, and maybe you've caught some of the old videos and whatnot, but the reality of it is that I started working with YouTube because of the fact that I was going through my own awakening, call it the political aspect of my awakening. I had my spiritual awakening back when I was 22, back in 1992, and I wrote a book about it. It's called The Book of One. If you're interested, it's available on Amazon, of course. And that was my spiritual awakening, but I kind of put all of that aside. I got the gist of what was happening in the world. I got the gist of what my role in all of this was, but I was living another life. I was a different person. I was still involved in the ego, still involved in and trying to make money and being popular, etc., all the trappings of this 3D matrix. And it wasn't until Hurricane Wilma came along and destroyed the business that I had. I was managing a salon in Miami and was doing very well. And Wilma came, destroyed my business. And it was the lack of compassion and the obvious corruption within my community that really motivated me to start my YouTube channel. When the time came that I was in need, when the time came that I needed some help from friends due to my economic disparity because of losing my business and everything else, I got angry. And I watched that movie America, Freedom to Fascism. Do you remember that movie? It was back in the mid 2000s. And it introduced me to Ron Paul. It introduced me to a lot of concepts and ideas about our paradigm in which we live. And not only that, the myth that I was living in, the myth that, the government will take care of you, the government has its best interests, your best interests at hand, and it wasn't true. And even people realizing that people really didn't have the integrity that I was giving them credit for. And that really set me off on a path of discovering myself. It instigated what I call the second wave of my awakening. And the reason why I started this YouTube channel 10 years ago was, and you'll get a kick out of this if you're a pagan, I was talking about how I felt that occult knowledge or metaphysical knowledge, whatever you want to call it, spiritual knowledge, what should be available to everyone in the public for free. And I had a big backlash. Back in the day, remember, it was MySpace. I had a big MySpace page, and I was sharing things about, meditation, energy work, the occult, and whatnot. And I had a Gardnerian high priestess, if those of you know what Wicca is, and the denominations within it. I had a high priestess tell me that how dare I share this information to those who aren't initiated. And the rebel that I am, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to share even more now. And that's when I started the YouTube channel. And it was about that time as well that I was going through some difficult times. And the landlord of the place I was living at was trying to evict me. And meanwhile, I was living in one of those illegal apartments. And I guess I was trying to be slick. And I tried to get them to shut him down because of it. I was angry. And he came along and started tearing up my garden and all these horrible things. I recorded all of that. And my argument was that we had 3 months without any water, without any power after the hurricane, and how dare he try to evict me for not paying rent for those 3 months. So I recorded it, I posted it on YouTube. I've taken the video down since then. But when I posted the video, BBC or Sky News called me and wanted me to be a part of a segment on how social media and YouTube were helping social justice. And I said, wow, this is a great opportunity. I told them yes, and I did it. And that was it. That was the beginning. I was motivated. All of a sudden, I'm creating videos on my crappy little Windows Media Maker, and sharing video and sharing stories. And not only that, but sharing my awakening experience. And 10 years later, here I am, almost 500 videos later, over 30,000 subscribers, and still going really strong. And it just has been such a long ride. There's been a lot of people who have helped me in that. A lot of people have influenced me in my life, I will say. Many people ask me, well, you are a voice for the awakening path, you're a voice against corruption, you're a voice for activism, you're a voice for spirituality. Who motivated you? Who are your influences? And I have to say, first and foremost, that my number one influence in all of this work has been Joseph Campbell. If you don't know who he is, please look him up. There's a wonderful series by PBS with Bill Moyers called The Power of Myth. And I was very lucky back in the 90s. He was doing a course on cable from Harvard. I believe it's from Harvard. He was doing a course on the power of myth, and I was able to take that course, and I was very grateful to be a part of that. So Joseph Campbell has been a great influence on me, as well as so many others, and the list can go on, but I just want to mention him in particular because a lot of what I say and a lot of what I share about religion and what I share about spirituality is inspired from his work, so I hope you'll take a look at that. Um, so, here we are. There's about 10 of you watching right now. If you'd like, please, by all means, say hello. Let me say hi here on the live chat. Hi, I see you. I'd love to have a discussion with you, please. If you'd like to ask any questions, I would love for you to share any of your thoughts or ideas. I do have some questions that were sent to me prior to this broadcast that I'd like to share as well. But I feel that, the live thing would be even better. So, with that being said, this is the first live broadcast we've done here on the YouTube channel. And it's kind of exciting that, technology has come that far and we can actually do this live stream. Here I am in my living room. There's the window. Here's one of the kitties. Come here, Sophia. Is that you? Come here. Come say hi. Come here. Oh, she's going to run out. Oh. So, here's Sophia. You've probably seen her on Facebook, and she's a lab cat. I've never had a lab cat before. But, so with that being said, I do want to acknowledge some of the people that have really supported me in my work and have been a part of this journey to be here 10 years later. I can't believe it's been 10 years. First and foremost, of course, is Triva. Triva has been with me since day one. I remember seeing her post in YouTube. She was commenting on my YouTube channel. She was following a lot of my YouTube videos and commenting, and we started talking on, I guess, on MySpace, Triva. I don't know what the delay is here. But we were commenting here on YouTube, I believe, and I asked her, do you want to help? Or she offered to help me. And in the beginning, back when YouTube was not so crazy and not so treacherous, remember when YouTube used to be full of nice people really wanting to talk to you before trolls and before angry people? Or at least before angry people took over the comments section of our YouTube channels. Triva was one who took over the comments for me. And I gave her the responsibility of answering all the comments on the channel. At that time, the YouTube channel had blown up. I think we were, believe it or not, we were the number 3 nonprofit and activism channel on YouTube, number 3 in the world. And we were for many years before Google took over, of course. But we were the number 3 channel in nonprofit and activism. And Triva was the one that would answer your comments for me. And from there, of course, it just got bigger and bigger. Triva started working with me with the GIC. I had interviewed Annabelle Montalbano for one of my radio shows, and Annabelle and I founded the Global Illumination Council. Remember the GIC? It was probably about, easily 100 videos that we created together from the GIC era. And we created the GIC together. It was a Ning social network. Remember the social networks, Ning, the Ning networks, I should say. And we did that for, I don't remember, Triva, 8 years, I don't know, 7 years, something like that. And we did very well. We reached thousands and thousands and thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. We had several thousand members. And I dare say that we were probably one of the first doing what we're doing as far as what I now call spiritual activism or sacred activism. And I know that we've influenced many people that are doing basically the very same thing that we did. I can't believe it. They're like copies and identical web pages and identical social media and identical YouTube channels of exactly the same work that we've been doing now for 10 years. And I'm honored. I think it's great that it's spreading. I think it's wonderful that the younger generation is picking up the mantle and utilizing the technology. You'll notice that most of my YouTube channels are kind of raw. I'm not into that fancy, software, whatnot. I don't know how to use it. I never intended to be a professional YouTube channel. And YouTube, of course, has been trying to push me to use better software, to use better editing and whatnot. And while that's a great thing, that's not who I am. I'm about reaching you. I'm about talking to you. I'm about connecting with you. And I do apologize. I haven't done many face-to-face videos like this in quite a while. But to me, it's not about slick ads. It's not about slick production. It's about information. And it's about caring and integrity and letting that come across in the work that we do. And I'm very grateful to say that we have never sold out. We've had people, big corporations, big companies, advertising agencies wanting me to, I don't know, peddle their product or come under their umbrella. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, a large company, which will remain nameless, offered to buy my channel and to buy the GIC several years ago, and I turned them down. They offered a lot of money, and I said, no, I don't want the integrity of the work that we're doing to be swayed by corporate practices. Now, well, corporations are a whole nother issue, and I can go into that on a whole nother show some other time. Let me take it. I'm drinking some cider to celebrate, by the way. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for being here with me. But it was important to me to maintain the integrity of the work. Until this day, I mean, we're a YouTube partner. We're with Full Screen, the Full Screen Network, if you know what that is. And yeah, they help a little bit, but I mean, as far as making money off this channel, it's a drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket, and the work that I do extends far more than just the Just Bernard show. I facilitate groups here in the local area. We've just started, by the way, if you're interested. A lot of you over the years have said, how do I meet other awakened people? Or have asked me questions like, I feel like I'm going crazy, or my family doesn't understand me, and this awakening path is very confounding and confusing. Well, I decided to start something called the Awakened People Online Support Group. So if you are interested, we are starting our meetings next Tuesday, as a matter of fact. Excuse me, next Tuesday, Awakened People Online Support Group is going to be having its first meeting. It is a regular therapeutic traditional support group for those of us on the path. If you are interested, we're having kitty hissing going on here. If you are interested, you can go to my website, bernardalvarez.com, and if you go under bookings, you'll scroll down a little bit and you'll see group sessions, and we are starting a real live support group for those who are awakening and want some support and want to interact. And it's amazing that 10 years later, it took me 10 years to get to this point where, let's do it. It was a matter of let's just do this. People have been reaching out for years. They want support. They want to meet other people that are awakening. We did the GIC. That was a great tool to meet other people that were awakening. But, that's gone now. And there are still people that are in need that want to meet other people, and if not, get some kind of inspiration and or some type of professional support as to, what's happening to them. So check it out. I think it's going to be really great. I am keeping it down to 15 people. I think we got about 4 people signed up right now. So if you want to join, I would book as soon as you can, actually. Treva, I don't know if you can see me. Actually, you're still there. So if you can, post the link for everyone if they want to sign up and register for the Awakened People Online Support Group. Anyway, again, I want to go back. I'm jumping around, and yeah, this is really casual. I did not intend for this to be some professional produced segment. It's the 10th anniversary. I want to share with you. I want to connect with you, and I want to talk to you. And I do see some names that I recognize. Hi, Tina. I am going to be answering your question. I do have you on my list, and we're going to be answering questions in just a little while. Hi, Emerald Dawn. I've seen you on YouTube. And Vessel Page. Hi, welcome. I don't think I've seen you on YouTube yet, but I see you now, and I look forward to seeing you around more. So, hi, everybody. Hi, Sweet Sea Sons. Cool name. Yes, no, we did not sell out, and I refuse to sell out. With that being said, let me share with you a little bit about some of the people that have influenced me and that are still supporting me. I think one of the most important people that I want to bring up, and most of you know her, I see it as my moment when I knew that I was amongst my peers, and that was my friendship with Miriam Delicato. Starting my friendship with Miriam Delicato was a big moment for me. It made me, I don't know if you guys remember Project Camelot, and Project Camelot is still around, but Project Camelot was like this big thing about, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. And I was just like I was a fan. I was a big fan of Carrie Cassidy and Bill. I forgot his last name. I'm so sorry. Bill and Carrie were doing some great work, and they were sharing Miriam Delicato's work. And when me and Miriam did a show together, we just connected. And our friendship has bloomed ever since. We're still very, very dear friends. I speak to her. I just talked to her 2 hours ago. She's a part of my day-to-day life, and she's an amazing woman. If you don't know her work, please, look it up, Miriam Delicato, as well. And I'm very happy to say that I'm going to share something kind of personal here. A few years, I don't know if you guys remember Roxy Lopez. I love Roxy. Roxy Lopez and I have done a lot of work together, and she just reached out to me today, and she wants to, well, I guess re-enlighten or reignite our friendship, and I'm so glad that she's a part of my life again. Roxy Lopez is an awesome, awesome woman. She was the one who brought me to Revolution Radio, which is where I've been for the last 3 years, and, she left and went off to do her own thing. And we kind of drifted apart because of that. And I haven't spoken to her in a couple of years, but I'm so glad that she has been writing me, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with her. But again, she has been a major influence in the work that I've done. I can't talk about influence and friends and people who I admire without mentioning Joe Martino of Collective Evolution. Joe Martino invited me to be on his third film. If you guys remember Collective Evolution, The Shift, Joe Martino actually drove here. He was touring the United States, and he drove here when I was still a part of Occupy Roanoke, and he joined us during a Labor Day parade and came back to my house, and him and his girlfriend at the time stayed with me at my place, and they interviewed me for the film Collective Evolution 3, The Shift. It's a fantastic film. I believe the work that Collective Evolution is doing is exactly the example of what I'm talking about when I say that the younger generation is taking up the mantle, and they are sharing and bringing this all into a new generation. And I'm very grateful for the work that they're doing, and I'm very grateful that I can call Joe Martino a friend. He's a great guy, and I hope you guys do like Collective Evolution and go check them out. They're awesome. I can go on and on and on, but yes, I'm seeing some of your comments here. Thank you, Costanza, and I'm so glad you love our channel, because we're just trying to work and help everybody, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Somebody asked me, what are your feelings, Jaden? Hi, Jaden. I just friended you on Facebook. Welcome. What was your feelings after uploading your first video and or series? The first video, which somehow I had to re-upload and the date is wrong, but the first video was a 2-minute Buddhist meditation, and it was really cheesy. Actually, maybe it looks good and it sounds good, and it does the trick. It does take you on a 2-minute Buddhist meditation. But I was very excited. Just that first video, getting it up there, seeing it being broadcast was absolutely amazing. And now it's got 20, 30,000 viewers or whatnot. It's really, really cool. Uh, when I first started working with YouTube, I was doing a lot of like music videos, a lot of pagan videos, like the Goddess song. I don't know if you remember that. And I believe right now one of the most popular is still, oh geez, what is the one, the circle? I don't know, Triva, if you remember, let me know. The spiral dance, that's it. Everyone loves that video. So I was doing a lot of music videos at the time, and it took a lot of finagling. After YouTube started cracking down on copyrights and things like that, I had to talk to people, I had to write them, I had to get their permission, and to still be allowed, especially as a partner, I have to make sure that everything is legal. And don't even get me started on that. That was a huge aggravation. All of a sudden, we went from being this YouTube, I'm talking about YouTube in general. YouTube was kind of like this underground renegade, you post for everyone, you talk about whatever you want. Next thing you know, you're getting copyright strikes, you're getting shut down, people are getting kicked off, and it forced me to deal with legal stuff and contracts, and that's not who I am. That's not who I am at all. So I'm very grateful that a lot of the people that I had maybe done their music video or whatnot, they were really cool and they let me keep it up for a little while there. Even Cindy Lauper let me keep her videos up. Even the B-52s let me keep their videos up. And remember, my videos were telling a story and just using their lyrics as a background to tell the story of whether it be spiritual enlightenment or activism or whatnot. One of the most popular ones was that Lost Boys video. I don't know if you guys remember that, Cry Little Sister. And G. Tom Mack, and I want to thank him so much for years. He kept giving me permission to leave that video up, and I did it back when Bush was still president, and I made it to Cry Little Sister. It was showing the corruption of George Bush and what was happening in Iraq and the mess that it was, and we used that as a background, and he supported that. And it wasn't until recently that I guess he had a new management company and they asked me to take it down, and I had to take it down. But let me take a look at what you guys are saying here. So let me say hello to Justin Bernard. Hi, Justin Bernard. Hi, Jenny Miko. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And hello, Jaden. Again, thank you. The lightworker movement, and I thank you for bringing that up. That was, when I heard that term, I immediately knew that's what I was, for lack of a better term. The lightworker movement is I relate to what we define lightworkers to be. And what do I define a lightworker to be? I define a lightworker as someone who chose to be here at this time to heal the fear, to heal the divisiveness, and to heal the lack of compassion that we are seeing from our leaders, from each other, from the media. And lightworkers have a really tough job, let me tell you. And I'm going to get into one of the questions here because of that. And actually, I believe it wasn't Tina, but it was somebody else that asked this question about being a light worker and how to deal with all the sadness and corruption in the world. But the light worker movement is essential for humanity at this time. It is essential that if you feel you are a light worker, it is essential that you step into the role. I had a Q&A yesterday, and a gentleman said, well, if I made the agreement to come here, is there a way I can take it back? And actually, that's a great discussion. Let's get into that for a second. So, we as souls made an agreement to come here on the planet, incarnate, as quote unquote light workers to do the work of a light worker in a very profound time, and we've lost a lot of ourselves. We have, many of us have lost families, many of us have lost our jobs, many of us have pushed friends away because they think we're crazy, whatever it may be. There is loss in it, and it does make it difficult from a 3D perspective to do the work of a light worker. And what I say to those that say, and I kid around and say it too, if I made the agreement to be here, I'm not going to come back. I'm not coming back to do this again. This is it. I'm never going to do this again. But the reality of it is that you are. It is something that is within you. It is something that motivates you. And I'll tell you, when I take time off, when I go on, which I don't go on vacation very often, let's say when I take a 3-day weekend, I can't wait to get back to work. I feel like there's something I need to do. And the only way, and I believe that many of us feel that we feel that drive, that we are being pushed to, whether it be save the world, help the world, heal our friends, heal our family, help our friends, et cetera, et cetera. There's that drive that's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. It is an intrinsic part of your nature. And if it is an intrinsic part of your nature and it is not fulfilling you in a way that makes you happy, it's time to kind of look at what it is you're doing and what can we do as light workers to do the work that we're doing and still be happy. I believe we are not meant to be unhappy light workers. I do not believe that we are spiritual activists, light workers, starseed, rainbow, crystal, to be unhappy on the planet. As a spirit incarnate in a human body, it is essential that you live in happiness. It is essential that we experience happiness. I believe that's the soul's natural attraction to life on earth, is to find things that make us happy. As well, it is the draw, it is the motivation of the light worker to heal others, to heal the world, to heal ourselves, to help us change the paradigm. But there's a way to do it and still be happy. And I am just now, in the last year, I am figuring that part out. There's got to be a balance. There has to be a balance. And we have to allow ourselves the right to not always be a light worker. We have to allow ourselves and give ourselves permission to take a break, to go out of town and go see The Cure like I did for my birthday. Yay. That was a great time. To allow ourselves to be human and allow ourselves to feel the emotions of what a human feels. And if you are not happy in the work you're doing as a light worker, I ask you to please find a way to find happiness in it, because we need you. And you chose to be here, and we need you to do this work. We need you. You need you to continue on the path and to continue to heal the planet, to heal others. But I also say to you, I need you to be happy. We need you to be happy. So please find a way, and do not feel that you do not deserve to be happy, whatever that happiness is. One of my favorite sayings, one of my favorite laws in witchcraft, we say, yes, I am a practicing pagan, we say, and harm none, do what you will. That's where it comes in here. Do what you want, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. But also follow your path, and please continue the healing process. Please continue your activism. Continue your yoga practices. Continue your yoga classes. Continue your Reiki classes. Continue doing what it is that you are driven to do, but don't give up. You're never going to be happy. I used to say it too, and me and Treva have had long conversations about this, and forgive me, Treva, for sharing something personal. I hope it's okay. We talk about the red pill, the blue pill, and the purple pill, and I find the purple pill is the way to go. The red pill, remember the Matrix? The red pill is you see the truth. The veil is removed, and you see where you really are. The blue pill is happy ignorance, living in the 3D world, not knowing anything's wrong, la 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 la, hear no evil, see no evil. The purple pill is having both. The purple pill is knowing the truth, knowing and seeing through the veil, but still enjoying a cider, going out to dinner, going to a concert, having fun with your friends. And why do I say that? And let me explain that a little further after I have a sip of my purple pill. When I started this journey, I'm not going to say when I started this journey, when I finally realized what I wanted to do, what I needed to do, I was very lucky to meet a shaman, or someone who claimed to be a shaman and practiced and was very good at it. And he was the one that helped me organize my vision quest that is in my book, The Book of One. You can hear all about it. I'm not going to get into detail. But the lesson that he taught me was we want to, not that we want to, the goal of, at that time it was the shaman. The goal of the shaman, and I will just put in the word lightworker, starseed, awakening person on the awakening path, is that we want and we strive to have our foot not only on the physical realm, but on the material realm, the mind realm, and the spiritual realm. We have our foot on all dimensions, and we have the ability to alter our state of consciousness at will. That is what I was taught by him, and that is the foundation of the work that I do, and I'm now finally seeing it come into fruition. I do have my foot in the 3D matrix. I have my foot in the 5D. I have my foot in the 8D at times. The point I'm trying to make is that when we look at the universe and when we look at reality as a whole, not just the 3D world, not just the physical world, the emotional world, the spiritual world, when we look at the all, and we can remove the veils that are separating each of those worlds, then we are truly awakening. We are truly moving on the path of enlightenment. We have the ability to acknowledge all of those realms, all of those realities at once. And what that does is it gives us the permission to, go into an altered state of consciousness, go into trance, channel aliens, whatever it is, one moment, and the next moment to go out and have a nice steak at a steakhouse and drink some wine with your friends. We are allowed to have it all. And again, I have to go back to that time where I felt that, I couldn't do these things. Oh, I have to be spiritual all the time. I have to be spiritual. I have to be honorable and never have steak or wine or give in to my worldly desires. Wrong. We're here on this planet. We are here in this physical body. And because we are here in this physical body, we are going to have the ability to enjoy human interaction, human sensation, and human emotion. Do not think they're bad. They're not. They're not. Why do you think you incarnated in a human body? Why do you think you chose to incarnate in a human body? I remember prior to my first awakening, I felt the desire to experience everything. I wanted to experience, going to a casino, skydiving, bungee jumping, drugs, whatever it might be. I wanted to feel the experience. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to experience it. My soul was driven to enjoy the human body. And that, if anything, looking back, shows me that I am a spirit in a human body and I came here for a reason. But at the same time, I also came here to enjoy life, to enjoy the trees, to enjoy my kitties, to enjoy cider, to enjoy interacting with you. So give yourself a break. You don't need to be perfect. Nobody expects you to be perfect. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. Be a light worker and let your intuition guide you in the direction you need to go. There's no reason to stop doing the work, and there's no reason to think you can't be human. I'm going to read some of your comments here. I see I missed some of them quite a bit while I'm sitting here yapping. Jenny Miko. Hi, Jenny Miko, if you're still there. Hi, how are you? I'm so glad to see you. Costanza. I said your name right. Good. Yes, and I like what Jordan is saying. It is kind of a game. Gosh, who was that one guy? There was this one guy on YouTube that he called it, I don't know what he called it, the Enlightenment Game. Triva, I don't know if you remember him. The one, we posted some videos of him. I can't think of the name. It's going to drive me crazy. I'll post it in the future sometime. But yeah, he called it the game, whatever, the something game. But it was very, very, he had it right on. Oh, no, it's not coming to me. Sorry. Excuse me. And so anyway, I want to read some of your questions. I do have some questions here that you all have sent me prior to this broadcast. So let's see. Can I find it? Yeah. So Amy Bijou on Facebook, a Facebook friend of mine, asked me this question. She said, I want to ask you what I asked the Dalai Lama when he came to New Zealand after the Christchurch earthquake. And let me just mention, I remember those earthquakes. And Triva, you were there too. Remember, we were on GIC in the chat room when it happened. And actually, we were looking for some of our friends who had not checked in. That was about, what, 5 years ago, maybe? I do remember that very, very clearly. How do we individually and collectively keep our light shining in a world of turmoil and chaos? It's hard to resonate and find strength. It feels like staying sane and surviving is all that is crucial. Oh, gosh. Been there. I completely understand. When I had my spiritual awakening, if those of you have seen my videos where I talk about it or whatnot, or read the book, my guides decided the first thing they wanted to show me was all the crisis in the world. I was shown war, I was shown famine, I was shown sexual slavery, drug addiction, genocide, all of these horrible, horrible things that are going on in the world and are happening right now. You know, we're here, I'm on Facebook, I'm in my lovely home with my lovely kitties on this great broadcast, but right now we have Gaza, we have Turkey, we have all these difficult situations going on in the world. And I will say that when I first started doing this work 10 years ago, well, full-time, started doing this work full-time 10 years ago, I was trying to be on top of everything. I wanted to be on top of the Gaza situation, the North Korea situation, the Ireland situation, the Native American situation, the South America. I wanted to be on top of everything, and I wanted to take care and heal and stop every one of those things. When we first awaken and we start to see what is truly going on in the world, when we finally get to that point when we are aware of what's going on in the world, whether it be politically, whether it be through religion and some of the bad things that happen with religion and whatnot, we feel an empathy, we feel a compassion that we need to do something. So how do we live day to day in this world, doing the work that we're doing, knowing that these things are going on in the world and still remain sane? My answer to you is that I will never ignore what's happening. I feel what's happening. I am aware of what's happening. And I choose to do what I can where I can. The secret is to, when it comes to this path, when it comes to awakening, the awakening path doesn't happen all at once. And your inner guidance, whether you can call it your intuition, you can call it communication with your higher self, but your inner guidance is going to guide you in the direction that you can be most beneficial. For example, when I first started this work, I was motivated to work on the geoengineering aspect. Actually, my very first radio broadcast was about geoengineering and chemtrails, and that's where I felt the most alignment. Throughout the years, my focus has changed, and that's okay. The point I'm trying to make is that to allow yourself to do what you can do when you can do it. Is there tragedy in the world? There is absolutely horrific tragedy going on in the world. And with that, with the understanding of who we are, why we're here, and why we're doing what we're doing on this lightworker path, awakening path, whatever it is you wish to call it, we need to cultivate an understanding that this is human consciousness. We are, whether we wish to admit it or not, we are one human consciousness. We are all one consciousness. And we experience that consciousness from different eyeballs, from different perspective, different perceptions. And in understanding that one consciousness, we also must take into consideration that that one consciousness is evolving, and it's always evolving. And as that consciousness evolves, compassion will become the norm. Understanding will become the norm. Integrity will become the norm. But from my perspective right now, seeing all the tragedy around the world, seeing all the destruction, the war, the rape, the genocide, murder, corruption, whatever it is, I look and I understand that we as a human collective are evolving, just like, not only evolving, maturing is probably the better word. And as we are maturing, we will come to the place where we understand that this is not acceptable. Now, do I not feel compassion? Of course I feel compassion, but I understand that that is one aspect of humanity that needs to mature. And as it matures, this horrible behavior will end. With that being said, I do share my love. I do send my healing thoughts to those that are being affected, but I don't take it personally, and I think that's the key. Many of us on this path take everything very personally. We can't help it. We can't help it. We are compassionate beings. We are empathic beings. We feel what other people are feeling. If I look at a video of Gaza, I'm going to feel what those people are feeling. If I look at or read something, even if it's the Black Lives Matter movement, I am going to feel something. That's what we do. We feel. It's up to us to start discerning and start appropriating our attention. And I don't mean that in a cold way at all. I just feel that we are one person. We can only do what we can do. We cannot do everything. Where is your energy best spent? Where is your focus best spent? Give yourself a break. You can't do everything at once. If it's locally, work locally. If it's nationally, work nationally. If it's globally, work globally. But know in your heart that things are getting better. It's because you feel that heartache. It's because you feel that ache and that, awareness of the horrible corruption, destruction, war, and genocide in the world that makes this a better place, because you're feeling it. And if you're feeling it, other people are feeling it. That is, to me, is a sign that we are evolving. And be happy with that. Embrace that. Embrace the fact that we're aware that something is wrong. And then work to change it. But don't make it personal. Don't take it personally. I think that's one of the greatest faults that we have as those on the path of awakening and those as light workers. We take everything personally. We have to change it right now. It's not going to change right now. The only thing that can change right now is the way that you perceive it and the way that you react to it. And I hope that your reaction will be of, I love you, I feel it, I feel your pain, but I accept that I can only do so much. And I will do what I can when I can. It's not the end of the world. It's not, they keep pushing this end of the world scenario on us. It's not the end of the world. Have compassion, have understanding. But I think it's very important that we also are kinder to ourselves. A light worker living in guilt, it's not very useful. It really isn't. A light worker who's empowered and knows what direction we're going in and what direction we need to focus our energy on. That is the light worker that will make a change. I'm going to take another look at your chats here. Thank you. Thank you, sweet sea sons. I just read your post, so I appreciate that. Yes, Bill Hicks was amazing. Thank you. All right, I have another question that I want to read, and I believe it's from Tina, if she's still here. Hi, Tina. Tina writes, I love when you say just be yourself. People really need to hear this nowadays. There are steps we need to take in our awakening, but we tend to get caught up in how to do it like this person or that person. Can you touch on some of that? Oh, boy, can I. Thank you, Tina. That's a great question. We all have our own style of doing things. We all have our own ability of doing things. I remember when I first started doing this work, again, I was inspired by Joseph Campbell. I was inspired by Miriam. I was inspired by Carrie Cassidy. You can ask Treva. A lot of us, a lot of the stuff that we did was inspired by these people. And what I can say to that is going back to our individual experience. Let's not forget that though we may be connected, though we may be aware of the wholeness of this human experience on the planet as a collective, though we may be aware of it, we are still on an individual path. There's something to be said for collective consciousness and the awareness of individual evolution. Do not allow yourself to be distracted so much by the collective evolution that you lose your own personal empowerment, that you lose your own personal evolution. I find that when I was doing that, and I was doing that, it was a part of the process for me to try to emulate others that I respected and emulate those I may have learned something from. But then something hit me, and actually I'll give you a very clear example. In the beginning, which was 10 years ago, I was into Alex Jones, I was into David Icke, I was into, which I still am, actually, one of them. Geez, I already forgot his name. But, I had the leaders that I looked up to. And in the beginning, it worked. They were inspiration. But 10 years later, I can say to you very wholeheartedly and with firm integrity of the words that I'm saying, I don't trust Alex Jones as far as I can throw him. Was he an inspiration to the work I do? Very much so. But we change. They change. Those we look up to might change. I've changed in the last 10 years. I went from being very focused on quote-unquote conspiracy culture / lightworker movement to now I am firmly embedded into the world that I call spiritual activism. I want to share information that may not be available to the mainstream. I want to share my thoughts, my experiences, and to share personal empowerment versus entertainment. So that's how I've changed. So what I say to this, and what I say to answer this question, is that we must understand this is your path. And whether you like it or not, and I know this might come off wrong, but I'll try to clarify, it's an individual path. You're alone in this path. If you are lucky enough to connect with a lover, wife, husband, partner who supports you and can be a part of that path, that's fantastic. If you can make friends, meet a group of people that support you, that's fantastic. But what it comes down to is that you are one person on one path, and your commitment needs to be to the evolution of yourself. The evolution of yourself will, of course, emanate outward to those around us. Don't replicate that. Don't parrot the outside world. That's what we're trying to work against. I don't want to imitate somebody else. I don't, and I hope that I'm teaching you that we don't want to copy other people. We don't want to say the same story over and over. We have billions of human stories to tell on the planet today, and let that story be individual. Let that story be yours. And let your style, let your way, let your thinking, let your integrity be personal. Inner truth is best expressed when it comes from your individual self. Inner truth and outer truth is more accepted if it's genuine. Being genuine is probably the greatest gift you will give to those who are listening to what you have to say. Be genuine, be truthful, have integrity. There's no reason to think we need to meet up to someone else's standards. The only standard we have to live up to is our own. And for me, it's about being genuine, being honest, and having integrity in all things that we do. Thank you, Tina. I'm very happy you enjoyed that. I hate to say this, guys, but we are out of time. I'm having so much fun. All right, so I'll hang out for a little bit longer. I'm having a good time. Let's hang out for a few more minutes. Let's see what we have going on here. Yes, I agree, Jaden. I agree that the entertainment aspect is great. I love Ancient Aliens, and I love all that stuff. And as a matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that, because when I first started doing this work, I used to call it edutainment, like edutainment. And yeah, we want to be entertained, and actually that's a great way to teach people. The way I look at it is that, the media manipulates us. So why don't we use the same skills that the media has, but yet still teach people integrity, truth, wisdom, and empowerment, but utilizing those same tools. So I definitely agree with you. I love the entertainment part of it. Excuse me. So I have one more question I want to answer, and it's very interesting because this one came from, a lack of a better term, I did a Q&A yesterday on Facebook, and I've never done a live Q&A, and it was just a text Q&A on my feed on my Facebook page. And someone showed up and said, so you think you're awakened? Why do you think you're awakened? And quite honestly, I just want to put that right back out there to you. Why do you think you're awakened? For me, my awakening happened in 1992. And it was kind of, I want to say an aha moment, but it was greater than that. It was kind of like, I get it. I get it now. I get what's happening around the world. I get what's happening in the planet, around the planet. I get what's happening in government. I get it. I get it. There's backroom deals. There's, influence. There's money. There's all this. I get it. The things I did not want to admit that were happening, I embraced and I understood. I got it. Same thing comes with my spirituality, with not my spirituality, but the awareness of my spirituality, the awareness that I am an energetic being, that I am a consciousness within this physical body. I'm a consciousness within a physical body, and the body itself is merely energy. It's energy slowed down to a point where it's solidified. And I began to understand that. So to me, awakening is truth. Awakening is embracing truth. Awakening is understanding truth. Awakening is that moment where you kind of like rub your eyes together and say, oh, was I sleeping? And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I mean that in a way like, wow, I was asleep, wasn't I? And I'm grateful that I've awakened. Yeah, it's been very painful. It has been painful. And I share this in my book. I didn't lose everything, but I let it go. I let my whole life go. I let that part of me to be removed into the past. And it is probably the most amazing experience I've ever felt, because now it's just me. And, well, my consciousness is just me. Yeah, I have a great roommate who I love and adore dearly. I have great friends, and Treva and Miriam, everybody that supports me, that are part of my reality. But now it's not the stuff. It's not the job. It's not who I'm connected to or who I know or who I'm related to. It's just me, and it puts all the responsibility back to me. I feel that's the key. Taking responsibility not only for our lives, taking responsibility for our thoughts, taking responsibility for our actions, taking responsibility for our reality. We talk about as above, so below, and et cetera, but little little do we know we're the ones creating our reality. And yeah, we talk about it lightly, and it's a part of the dialogue of the awakening movement. But to literally take responsibility of your reality, and to mean it and to understand it, that's a whole different level. To understand that you are the one responsible for your thoughts. Can you imagine? You're in charge of what you're thinking. That's a big responsibility. You're in charge of how you feel. That's a big responsibility. You're in charge of what you're looking at. What are your eyes seeing? What's around you? You're responsible for that. You're responsible for where you're sitting, where you're working, where you're living, who you surround yourself with. You're responsible for that. That's a big, big endeavor. And I have compassion for those of us who haven't quite embraced all of the aspects of personal responsibility. But personal responsibility is the greatest gift you will receive from your awakening. No one is ever going to tell you how to think again. No one. Because you'll be in charge of what you're thinking. No one will ever force you to look at something you don't want to look at, because you're responsible for what you look at. No one will ever force you to hang around people or work at a place you don't want to work at, because it is now your responsibility. Every moment is your choice. Every feeling is a choice. Don't get me wrong. We've had moments in our past that may have built up and snowballed into the point where, clinical depression might be a part of it, or other psychological issues may have come. But once that's done and cleared up, put yourself on the path of personal responsibility. Clear it up. Clear up your job. Clear up your home. Clear up your friends. Clear up what you're looking at. If you have a messy house, clean it. If you don't like where you live, decorate it. If you don't like the people you hang out with, don't hang out with them. Taking personal responsibility is the most empowering thing we can do on this path. That, to me, is what awakening is. I'm going to go check out some of your comments here. It was my pleasure, David. Thank you. So Tina's been awakening for over 20 years. Yeah, I feel you. Me too. Thank you, Vessel. Yeah, I have my Yoda moments on occasion. I appreciate it. So Maisha, I hope I'm saying that. Maisha says, awesome definition. My awakening has been happening in layers. Yes. It's been over or accomplished like an onion. There's more and more awareness, acceptance, and stages and parts. Exactly. It's layers. And we can't do it all at once. Give yourself a break. It's going to continue, and the only thing I can say is that as the layers peel away, embrace it, take responsibility. We don't want to go backward, and we have these moments where we go forward and backward, and a moment of going backward is fine. Yeah, you just gave up, but don't live there. Don't live in that moment of weakness and begin to identify as that weakness, or identify as that aspect of yourself which is not making you happy. It's not who you are. Remember who you are. You're an infinite being. You're this awareness. You're amazing. You're going to change the world. You are going to change the world. You are, all of you. And that's why we're here. So I am having a great time, but I have to say I really must go. So again, I want to thank you all. This has been such an amazing decade. I can't believe it's been a decade. And I'm so grateful that you all are part of my journey, that you have supported me in this journey. And it just keeps getting better and better. And guess what? Now that I know how to do this live stream thing here on YouTube, we'll have to do it again. Definitely. We're going to do it again, and we're going to do it more often. So I hope you'll join me when we come back. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but let me do a spiel. Please go check out my website, bernardalvarez.com. Sign up on my email page, get notifications. You can also go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Bernard Alex Alvarez. I'm always on Facebook, and I'm always sending out notification emails. Once a month, I send out a newsletter. So I will be posting there, and I promise I will be here on YouTube more often to do these broadcasts. I had a great time, and I'm loving talking to you guys here. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for 10 years, and I really, really appreciate your support all this time. And again, I'm just being genuine, and I want you to be genuine. So you continue being genuine, and I'll continue being genuine. And we'll continue elevating the planet. We'll continue this awakening together. I love you, everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.